Alright, let's come to the types of asexual reproduction in case of plant. Okay, in case of plant. So we have discussed the types of asexual reproduction in case of animals. Okay, so in case of plants, the types of asexual reproduction, the asexual reproduction that is produced in case of plants are known as vegetative propagation. Okay, the asexual reproduction that is produced in case of plants are known as vegetative propagation. Okay, we call the term vegetative propagation. Okay, the asexual reproduction that is produced in case of plants, we call it as a vegetative propagation. What happened in case of vegetative propagation? Small bud give rise to a new plant. Okay, small bud give rise to new plant. Give rise to new plant. Okay, now this bud can be seen in stem, in the root region, okay, or in a leaf region. Okay, so that is vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation, what is vegetative propagation? Asexual reproduction which is produced by plant are called as vegetative propagation. What happened in vegetative propagation? Small bud give rise to a new plant, and this bud can be seen in a stem region, in a leaf region, or in a root region. Now this we have already discussed in your first year chapter, morphology of flowering plant. I don't know if you remember or not, we have already discussed. So let's give a quick recap of it. Now this bud can be seen in case of stem region, in case of root region, in case of leaf region. Okay, so in case of stem, let's come to the first, in case of stem region. In case of stem region, we can see a different bud develop in stem region depending on the plant body. Okay, so a different term is given to different plants. Okay, a different term is given to different plant where a bud give rise to a new individual. So I don't know if you remember. So example, I'll just give you example. Okay, I'll just give you the term, you write down the example and definition. We have already discussed in the first year chapter, morphology of flowering plant. Runner, sucker. Do you remember? Runner, sucker, offset. Okay, these are the terms given in case of stem region where the bud give rise to new plant. In case runner, example, cynodon, that is dhuk grass. Sucker, okay, offset, acornia, okay, where the bud give rise to new plant. The term is known as offset and they are present on the stem region. Okay, then stolon, example, strawberry. You write it one line definition. Okay, we have discussed morphology on flowering plant. I'll just give you the term. Then bulb, corm, tuber, rhizome. Okay, if I left some point, you go through yourself. So we have already discussed. So in such case, what happened from the stem region, small bud develop which give rise to a new individual, and there are different terms given to the different plant body. If it is a runner, example, if it is sucker, example, offset, along with the example, one line definition. Okay, you write it down by yourself. So in such cases, what happened from the stem region, a small bud develop, and that bud give rise to a new individual. Okay, so different term has been given to the different plant body. So these are the term, you write down the example, okay, along with one line definition, because we have already discussed. So these are the stem vegetative propagation. Now in stem vegetative propagation, from stem region, small bud give rise to a new individual, and that comes under asexual reproduction. Okay, so next type of vegetative propagation we can take. Next type means on the next region, it is in a root region. In a root region, when bud give rise to new individual. Okay, in a root region, we can take example. Okay, give me an example from the root region, in which plant body from the root a small bud develop, and that bud give rise to a new individual. Give me one very common example. Sweet potato. Sweet potato, I guess you might have seen sweet potato, right? Sweet potato, in case of sweet potato, what we consume? Sweet potato, we consume root part. Okay, root part. So what happened in case of sweet potato? From the root region, a small tiny bud develop, and that bud give rise to a new individual. All right, that bud give rise to a new plant, that is new individual. So let me show you a quick diagram as sweet potato. You might have seen sweet potato. These are soil region, and inside the soil region there is a root part which is irregular in shape. Okay, let me show you the rough diagram. So from any part of the root region, a small tiny bud develop. Suppose from this part a small tiny bud develop. Now this bud give rise to a new individual. Okay, they grow to its size and give rise to a new individual, new plant, and that bud are called as radical bud. The term given to that bud is known as radical bud, R-A-D-I-C-L-E, radical bud. So where we can see, we can see in case of sweet potato. Scientific name, Aryabhatta, right? So in case of sweet plant, from the root region, a small bud develop and give rise to a new individual, and that bud is known as radical bud. So these are one type of asexual reproduction that we find on root region. Sweet potato, one more example. Again, we have already discussed this in first year. I'll give you one more example. Dalbergia shisho. Dalbergia shisho. Woody plant, very good for timber. That plant is very good for timber. Okay. So two examples I'll give you. So these are the vegetative propagation in case of root. What happened in case of root? A small bud develop, known as radical bud, and give rise to a new individual. Alright. So next, vegetative propagation we find on leaf region. So we have seen in case of stem region, we have seen in case of root region, and next we can find in case of leaf region. Example, give me an example. Succulent plant, one very common which is available in market, Bryophyllum. Have you seen Bryophyllum? Yes, you have seen. One more example, Kalanchoe. So in case of such plant, from the leaf region, a small tiny bud develop and give rise to a new plant. Okay, in case of Bryophyllum, if you plug a leaf and put it on a soil, that leaf can give rise to a new individual after some week, because on such leaf a small bud develop, and that bud is known as foliar bud. Okay, the term has been given as foliar bud. So in case of Bryophyllum leaf, you have seen Bryophyllum leaf. It is not so big. I am making it big diagram. Small tiny leaf, green in color. The leaf are very thick and fleshy. Okay, on the node region, a small bud develop. Small bud develop. Okay, small bud develop. That bud is known as foliar bud. So name has been given as foliar bud. Now, from that bud region, it gives rise to a new individual. Okay, in case of Bryophyllum or Kalanchoe. Okay, so these are the vegetative propagation we find in case of leaf region. All those are asexual reproduction in case of plants where there is involvement of only one parent, okay, and there is no any fusion of gametes. All right. So remember the term we have already discussed all those things in first year chapter, okay, morphology. So remember, so this is a quick recap. So these are the types of asexual reproduction in case of plant. Now next, what we need to know, very important. This year the question asks for 2 marks. Artificial vegetative propagation. Artificial vegetative propagation. Artificial, that means that we are doing according to our will, okay. Artificial vegetative propagation, which is done artificially by human. So artificial vegetative propagation, very important. The method and the types. This question came this year for 2 marks, okay. So first type of artificial vegetative propagation are known as cutting. Now this method can be very useful for those who like to do gardening, okay. This is very common method. The people nowadays is very common method. People who used to do artificial vegetative propagation for gardening. The first method is known as cutting. Very simple. In case of cutting, what we do, we take the stem part of the plant body, and we know the stem has nodes and internodes. Any stem of the plant body, we take any stem of the plant body, and we know the stem has the nodes and internodes. Remember nodes? This is, yes, nodes. Okay. So what we do, we cut the stem. Okay, a sharp cut at an angle of 45 degree, not direct cut. Not direct cut, at an angle of 45 degree, just below the nodes region, okay, not at the node part, just below the node region. We cut at an angle of 45 degree, not direct cut, we cut at an angle of 45 degree. Why? The reason why we cut at an angle of 45 degree, because it results in a minimum damage to the tissue, and it results in a maximum exposure of the tissue. All right. So after cutting, what we do, we add a solution. We add a hormone. Auxin hormone, which is a growth promoting hormone, auxin. After cutting, we add hormone on the cut region. We add a hormone, auxin hormone, and we place it in a soil. That's it. So after some days or some week, we find a nodes arise from the cut region or from the node part region. From the node region, we find a roots arise from the cut region or the node region. Very simple. This process are known as cutting. We take the stem region just below the nodes, we cut at an angle of 45 degree and add a hormone called auxin hormone, which is a growth promoting hormone, and then after adding a hormone, we place it in a soil. Okay. So this process is known as cutting. So you can write yourself. What we do in cutting? We cut stem at angle of 45 degree just below nodes region. We cut a stem at angle of 45 degree just below the nodes region and aid with auxin hormone, which is a growth promoting hormone, root promoting hormone, okay, and aid with auxin hormone and place it in a soil. So this process is known as cutting. Very easy. That's it. Diagram depending on the marks, okay. If it is 2 marks, no need to draw diagram, but if it is 3 or 4 marks, you can add diagram beautifully on the right side of your paper. So this is cutting. The next method we can take. Next method, oh wait, number 2, not number 3. Layering. Again, the name suggests meaning. Layering means something we cover with something. We layer something. Okay. So layering can be of 2 types. Okay. It is of two types. Ground layering and air layering. Please, I want you to make it, I want to note it down. I want you to note it down, all those notes. Once the class gets open, I will check your copy, okay? Note it down in a separate copy, botany copy. How can be a better way to learn like this, right? Learning from home. You can attend your classes by sleeping, by sitting, by eating. See, so easy. Okay, but make sure that you are copying all those notes. I will check your notes. So layering, ground layering and air layering. Ground layering. In case of ground layering, we do in such a plant, those plant has a flexible stem. Okay. In case of ground layering, it can be done only those plant which has a flexible stem. For example, jasmine. Jasmine, have you seen jasmine? Jasmine, the stems are very flexible. I'm just making a rough diagram. It has a flower, smells very good, right? So in case of jasmine, the stem is very flexible. So what we do, if you want to plant more jasmine tree, okay, if you want to plant more jasmine tree, what we do, we take the one stem of jasmine and bend it down towards the soil, towards the ground. Okay, we take, suppose this stem we take and we bend it down towards the ground. When they come in contact with the soil, we place it, we cover it with another soil and make sure that those stem has the nodes. Make sure the nodes has been placed towards the soil. Okay, the nodes region is placed towards the soil. So once they come in contact with the soil, we covered it with another soil. That's it. So after some days, we find a root arises and new plant body develops. Very easy. This process are known as ground layering. Just remember, in case of ground layering, it can be done only those plant which has a flexible stem. For example, jasmine. Okay. So in case of cutting, it can be done to any plant which has nodes and internodes in its stem. Okay, like a rose, bougainvillea, etc. So this is ground layering. So I hope you understood. That's it. You can write yourself. Okay, jasmine example, jasmine, or any you can add more example. In case of air layering, air, upar hawa mein. It doesn't mean in the air. Ground layering, ground. Air layering, suppose this is a soil, it can be done. Air layering can be done in those plants which has a rigid stem. The stem is big, rigid, okay, hard. Like for example, like mango, guava, citrus plant. In such plant, air layering can be done. Okay. What we do? Suppose this is a plant body. Suppose this is a mango plant. Suppose this is a mango plant and it has a stem. The stem of mango plant is rigid, right? You might have seen mango plant. The stem is very rigid. Now what? Okay, so what we do? We cut the outer layer of the stem. Okay, the outer layer of the stem we cut. Why? Because on the outer layer there is a dead tissue present. Okay, we just remove the dead tissue. Sclerenchyma, you remember sclerenchyma cell? We just cut the outer part of the outer layer of the stem, like this. Okay, on the both side of the stem. We cut on the both side of the stem and keeping the inner part of the stem, keeping the inner layer of the stem, because inner layer of the stem has a living tissue. Okay, we just remove the outer layer and keeping the inner layer. Now what we do? We cover this cut part with soil. Suppose this is soil. Okay, we cover the inner part with soil along with funaria, moss. It covered with soil along with funaria. What is funaria? Funaria, bryophyte. You have forgotten, I know. Bryophyte, Funaria, what is its role? What is its function? Funaria, it helps in the absorption of moisture from the environment. That is its function, okay, Funaria. So we covered that card part with soil along with the Funaria. The reason why we ate Funaria, because it helps in the absorption of moisture from the environment, okay. So we covered it with plastic. You might have seen in some nursery, okay, the method like this. The plant stem part is covered with plastic, wrapped with plastic, okay. So this method are known as air layering. So after doing that, we can find after some days or some weeks, root arises from the inner layer of the cells, okay. The root arises from that cut region after some week. Now once the root arises, what we do, we cut those stem and place in your another soil, a new plant develops. That's it. So this process is known as air layering. It is done in those plants which has a rigid stem, like for example mango, guava, citrus plant, etc. Alright, so these are the methods of layering. So layering can be of two types: ground layering, air layering, okay. That's it. I hope you understood. So next type. Let's come to the next type of vegetative propagation. Artificial vegetative propagation. Artificial means that it is done artificially. The next type of artificial vegetative propagation we can take. Next type, grafting. Grafting, very common method. Grafting. In case of grafting, what happen? What we do? See. In one particular plant, if you want to combine two different characters, and the grafting method can be done. Suppose there is a rose plant which is red in color. The flower are red in color. If you want to add white color in that particular plant, what we do? We do grafting. So combining of two different characters in one particular plant is known as grafting. Now grafting are of three types. Okay. So what is grafting? This is very common method. If you want to add two different characters in one plant, then method can be done, grafting. Okay, it's very common method nowadays. It is very common. Combining of two different characters. That means if you want to produce any hybrid plant, hybrid flower, then this method can be done. Okay, available in market, available in nursery. Okay, that's why I'm telling you, for those who like to do gardening, this method can be very useful. You can do by yourself, very easy. I'll tell you, combining of two different characters in one particular plant. Okay, so this method are known as grafting. If you want to combine two different color of flower in one particular plant, then this method can be used, grafting. So grafting are of three types. First type of grafting are known as tongue grafting. Tongue grafting. The first type of grafting are known as tongue grafting. In case of tongue grafting, what we do, suppose this is soil surface, inside there is a root. We cut, okay, suppose in this plant, this is a plant body, this is shoot region, so this is a plant body. Okay, suppose this is a red rose plant. If you want to add one more character in that particular plant, if you want to achieve two different colors in one particular plant, what we can do, we cut the shoot region just above the surface of the ground. Okay, we cut the shoot region just above the surface of the ground at an angle of 45 degree. Okay, we cut the shoot region at an angle of 45 degree, which is present just above the ground. Suppose this is a red color rose. Now we want to add a white here, and we want to produce a hybrid plant. So what we do, we take the white color rose plant stem. Again, we cut that stem at an angle of 45 degree, and we joined here. Okay, we join at the cut region. of the shoot, and we covered it with the soil along with the funaria with the help of plastic bag. Okay, we covered it, the cut region. Okay, now there is a term given, the region, okay, the structure which is present below the ground region, we call that structure as stalk, and the structure which is present above the ground region we call as a scion or scion, whatever. Okay, the structure which is present below the ground region we call it the stalk, and the structure which is present above the ground region we call it scion. So we cover with the soil, cover with plastic bag. Now after some week, okay, we find the two stem region they fuse together. Okay, once they fuse together to develop, now we can get two different colors in one particular plant. In that plant, we can find both a red color rose and a white color rose. See, so simple. Those grafting are known as tongue grafting. Understood? You can write yourself. Show me. Okay. So this is tongue grafting. The next method of grafting is known as number B, wedge grafting. W-E-D-G-E, wedge grafting, wedge. The method is same. Okay, the methods is same, but the only difference is in case of wedge grafting, it is done in those plants which has a bigger stem, which has a big stem. Suppose in case of big stem, oh wait, this is a soil surface. Suppose this is soil surface and here is a root region, and the stems are big. Okay, the stems are big. In such cases, what we do, we cut at the middle part of the stem in a wedge position. Okay, in a wedge structure. So we cut at the middle part of the region at a wedge structure. Okay, the cut is like a wedge structure at the middle region of the scion, and then we add our desired stem to it. Okay, we add our desired stem to the cut part and cover with soil again, and cover with soil. That's it. Such process are wedge grafting. The method is same. Only the difference is in wedge grafting we do in a bigger stem region. Okay, we cut at a wedge structure, wedge shaped structure, and we place our desired stem on it, and we fuse it with the soil along with the plastic bag. And after some days and some weeks, we find the two stems fused together and new characters develop. Okay, and hybrid plant is produced. So this process is wedge grafting. Now there is one more type of grafting called as ABC, crown grafting. Crown. Again, the methods are same. The only difference is in case of crown grafting, we can add the multiple number of our desired stem in one particular plant body. Okay, we can add a multiple number of the stem, our desired stem in one particular plant body, and that process is known as crown grafting. So this is root part, the stem is big. We can add a multiple number of our desired stem. We can add our multiple number of desired stem. Suppose we want to add 3 different stem. Our 3 different desired stem. We want to add 3 different color in one particular stem. So in such method, we can do grafting. Okay, in such cases, the card is not 45 degree. The card is the wedge shaped structure. Okay, the card is not at the 45 degree. The card is it's like a wedge shaped structure. Again, we cover with the soil. You might have seen in nursery this method. So in these cases, we can add 3 different characters in one particular plant. Okay, so this process is known as crown grafting. So these are all about grafting. So only in grafting we find a hybrid plant body, or we find a hybrid plant. Okay, if you want to get a hybrid, if you want to make it hybrid, only we can follow grafting. While in other cases, the plant produced is exactly similar to its parent. There is one more. Okay, So for what we have discussed cutting, we have discussed layering, then we have discussed grafting, and there's one more, very short. Number 4, micropropagation. Micropropagation, or it is also called as tissue culture. Okay. Now this tissue culture we will discuss in details in different chapter. Okay, towards the last chapter of it. Here we'll just discuss the basic thing. In tissue culture, what we do, we extract the tissue of any plant body. Now this tissue culture, it is done in a laboratory. Okay, in a lab. It is done in a lab, in vitro. It is done in vitro, in lab. It is at aseptic conditions. So in tissue culture, what we do, we take the tissue of any plant body and we place it in a culture medium, and we can get our desired plant body in less amount of time. Okay, if you want more number of plant in less number of time, we can follow micropropagation. But this culture, it is done in vitro, that means in laboratory. It is done in laboratory. Okay, so micropropagation. What is tissue culture? Same, the name. Okay, tissue culture can also call as micropropagation. Okay, micropropagation. What we do, we take the tissue of any plant body and we culture it in a culture medium, and we get more number of plant in a less amount of time. So these are the types of artificial vegetative propagation. So with this we have completed the types of asexual reproduction. Okay. So asexual reproduction we have seen in case of animal and in case of plant, and then artificial reproduction we have seen. Okay, next we will discuss the events of sexual reproduction. Okay, events of sexual reproduction. So in this chapter we will just talk about only the basic things of sexual reproduction. Only we will discuss the event, and the next chapter we will discuss in detail process of sexual reproduction. So we have completed asexual reproduction. Types, example, everything we have discussed. So now we will discuss sexual reproduction, events of sexual reproduction in next video.